Hello and welcome to another video from Honest Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that is now very, very old. It's very difficult to find, especially in this mint sealed condition, and is incredibly collectible. We are looking at the 1979 release by Crafts by Whitening, which was a MB or Milton Bradley company. And this is from their series of figurine paintings. And this particular one we're looking at today is of Admiral James T. Kirk from Star Trek The Motion Picture. Now, as you know, Star Trek Motion Picture was an American science fiction film. It was directed by Robert Wise, and the film was based on the original television series Star Trek, created by Gene Roddenberry, which aired from 1966 to 1969. And Gene Roddenberry was actually the producer in this particular film. Now, the film is set in 2270s, and there's this mysterious and powerful alien cloud that's heading towards Earth and destroying everything in its wake, which is known as Vija. Now, Admiral James T. Kirk, William Shatner, he assumes command of the recently refitted USS Enterprise to lead the mission to determine VJ's origins, save the planet, and basically stop it from destroying everything in its wake. Now, the movie was a very good success. It ran for about 2 hours and 12 minutes, I think it was. The budget for the movie was $44 million, which was a huge amount of money back in 1979, sorry. And at the box office, it grossed 139 million. So it took 3 times its cost, which was a huge amount of money. So it obviously starred William Shatner as Captain James T. Kirk, or Admiral James T. Kirk as he is in this episode, in this movie rather. And was most of the original cast, in fact I think all of the original cast returned for the movie, as well as some new actors. So yeah, William Shatner as Kirk, Leonard Nimoy returned as Spock, DeForest Kelley returned as Dr. McCoy, James Doohan returned as Scotty, George Takei returned as Sulu, Major Barrett, who was Nurse Chapel, who was a doctor, MD now in this movie. Walter Koenig, obviously, Pavel Chekhov, Nichelle Nichols, who was Lieutenant Uhura. And then you had 2 new faces, which is Persis Kambata, who played Lieutenant Ilea, and Stephen Collins, who played Decker. Okay, let's not digress any further. This is the item in front of us. And as you can see at the very top, it's got the Crafts Whitening logo, and it says a Milton Bradley company. On the right hand corner, it's got ages 8 to 14, and it says Star Trek Figurine Painting. It says featuring the Star Trek characters Admiral Kirk and Mr. Spock, sold separately. And this particular one is of the Admiral Kirk. And you can see the figurine on the right hand side there in white, and at the bottom there you've got the paints, the 5 different color paints that you need to paint the figurine according to the colors, which I think is shown on the back. Okay, so this is non-toxic acrylic paints, and you got the 1979 Paramount Pictures, all rights reserved, copyright information at the very bottom, and there you can see images of Admiral Kirk and Mr. Spock as they appeared in Star Trek The Motion Picture. Okay, that's the front of the card. Now, before we have a good zoom in and have a look at the actual figurine and the paints, let's turn it around and see what we got printed on the back. Okay, so I've turned the card around. This is what it says on the pack. So it's on the back, I should say. It says Star Trek Figurine Painting, Admiral Kirk. Before beginning to paint your figurine, carefully read these instructions. Place newspapers over your working area and wear old clothes. The paints of this kit are acrylic, therefore the brush should be cleaned with water before it dries. If you should get any paint on your clothing, wash it immediately with water. Take the figurine and a piece of sandpaper or knife and carefully scrape away any excess plastic along the parting line. Wash the figurine with soapy water, then rinse it with clear water. Dry the subject thoroughly with a clean cloth. To open the paint containers, lift up the tab by pushing up with your thumb. Close the lid by pushing it down until it snaps. Use a toothpick to thoroughly stir the paint in the container. To prevent the paint from drying, keep the containers closed when not in use. If the paint seems too thick, add some water, one small drop at a time, and stir well. Paint the larger areas first, following the instructions or following the illustrations on the front of this card. You can mix the colours on a piece of aluminium foil. It says colour placement. Brown is hair, flesh for the face and the hands, dark grey, which is for the phaser, the jacket's seams and collar belt, and the Enterprise insignia. Light grey, 1 part dark grey and 1 part flesh, so you mix those to produce light grey, and that's for the jacket, the pants, the boots and the eyes. Yellow, the dial and light on a phaser, stripes on the sleeves and shoulder, and white, shoulder, epaulets, circle on Enterprise insignia, belt buckle and belt buckle details. Try to paint all the areas of the same colour at a time and carefully wash your brush with soap and water before changing colours. To paint small areas and detail, snip several hairs off your brush and rinse it in clean water to wash away the loose hair. You can add a second coat as soon as the first one is dry. If you wish to change one colour, let it dry and then apply the right colour on top of it. 2 coats might be required for a good coverage. Now you're ready to display your painted figurine in your room. If you have enjoyed painting the figurine, you'll be pleased to find other characters at your whitening craft centre. Content: 1 moulded plastic figure, 5 non-toxic acrylic paint and a brush. Unauthorised use of Star Trek names, characters or places strictly prohibited. Brush made in Taiwan. Writing products, Southend Toy MFG Company, and Milton Bradley Company, Southend, Indiana. Figure made in Hong Kong. Okay, so that's the back of the packet. Let's turn it back around to the front and let's have a zoom in on the item itself. So I've turned the packet back around to the front and I've zoomed in a little bit. I haven't gone straight in at the moment because I just wanted to have a look at the image of Admiral Kirk here. Now that's the colours that you're going to be trying to match. Now it did tell you what the colours were on, and what colour each one is on the back of the packet. So you follow those instructions and you look at the image to create the colours. So you can see his sleeves there. The stripes on his sleeves are yellow. The top of his jacket there on the lapels are yellow, and the same with the insignia. And there's a button on the phaser which is yellow as well. You've got the light grey there and the dark grey on the phaser, and I think you've also got and then obviously the flesh colour is the face and the hands, and you've got the eyes and the hair, which are the darker colours. There's also white there for something, I can't remember what the white, oh maybe for the belt, the belt buckle. Okay, so that's the colours that we need to follow. And let's have a zoom in and have a look at that figurine. Well, I mean, it's not a great likeness of William Shatner, is it? It's, I suppose the face of the shape is about, or the shape of the face is about right. It all depends on how you paint it to get the look of William Shatner's face as he appeared as Admiral Kirk in the movie. So, but there we are. That is the face of the figure, and you can see his clothing. You can see that it's all moulded on, and you have to paint it to make it look and stand out in 3D. Otherwise, it just looks very bland. And there's that stand that he's on there, or the transporter platform, whatever it is that he's standing on. Yeah, and it is a plastic figure, so it probably would require about 2 coats of paint. So and let's just go down to see the paint there then. So we have got the 5 pots of paint. So you've got brown, you can see that with a light. Let's just lean that back a little bit, perhaps you can see that a little bit better now. So you've got the dark brown, you've got the flesh colour, you've got yellow, you've got black, and you've got white. And the one colour that you need to mix is the light grey, which is the flesh, and the brown, I think they said. Oh, sorry, that's dark grey, not black. There's a flesh colour and the dark grey that you mix to make the lighter grey for the uniform. Okay, let's just get some measurements now of the figurine. So the figurine is about 4.5 inches, which is 11 centimeters. If we measure it across, we're looking at about 3.5 centimeters, and depth wise is about 2 centimeters from the back to the front of the stand. So the next question you're going to be asking me now is, how well did these do back in the day? Well, Star Trek was still a very popular franchise back in 1979. We'd had the reruns of the TV series throughout the 1970s, and obviously with the success of Star Wars, Paramount decided to revisit the Star Trek franchise and produce the movie. So that's pretty much what happened. It's because of the success of Star Wars, which brought Star Trek back, or brought Star Trek to the movies. So it did attract a big following. It was still had its cult following anyway, but it did attract a new audience. Even though it probably wasn't the best of all the movies, it did drag a little bit, I felt, and didn't really explore in depth the characters as the further films did. So, but it was still a very popular film, and it done very well at the box offices, and it spawned an awful lot of merchandise. There was a lot of merchandise, like with any of those movies of the time, the sci-fi movies. Every one of them spawned a lot of merchandise. So there was action figures, there was model kits, there was books, there was activity sets, there was clothing, there was all sorts of annuals, all sorts of things that would come about because of the movie. And obviously these figurine painting sets was again spawned from the series. So although I don't know the numbers of how many of these were produced, and I must admit, other than this one, I've never seen one of these before. I did try and do a little bit of research online, but I couldn't find any of these anywhere. So I'm assuming that they produced fairly low numbers, and that anyone that would have bought them would have used them, painted them, displayed them, and obviously probably thrown them away after a period of time. Because, as I say, I haven't seen any of these anywhere. So I did have a hunt around, couldn't find them on any of the platforms. So I think I went back 5 years, and I think I did actually having said that, I think I found one that had appeared on a platform over the last 5 years. So other than that, that was it. So a very rare item. It doesn't come up for sale very often on the platforms. As I say, I don't know how well it did back in the day, but to find it like this, it's still sealed in the card, untouched paintbrush and figure, is yeah, I mean, you're just not going to find another one like this, I don't think. It's a very, very rare, very collectible item, and of course we've only managed to find the one. So to summarize, very old, very collectible, doesn't appear on the platforms, but yes, you know it, we at Midas Touch, we have done it again, and we have managed to find this one item, and it is a former shop item. It was part of a shop stock that we bought out. It had been sitting in the back stock room for God knows how many years. Never seemed to sell at the time, so they just put it into a box with a load of other unsold items from a similar era, and it stayed there until we went in and we bought out all of their shop stock and their stock in their storeroom. And there's some beautiful gems in there. That was like Aladdin's cave for me, going into that storeroom and finding all stuff from the past, as the shop had been around since the 1960s. But anyway, we've only managed to find one of these items, and this particular item, as of today, is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website. which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Trek items and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website, and there will be something for everybody. And I'm absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you're looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful vintage Star Trek figurine painting set with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.